Hello guys, it's me, Benni, back again with another Jujutsu Infinite video. Today's video, I'm just gonna talk to you about which maximum technique you should probably prioritize getting. Or if you find one that looks cooler, you should take what looks cool, to be honest. Like a guide to tell you what to do. You can do whatever you want, to be honest with you. I'm just gonna give you the ups and downs of every maximum technique and probably like compare them to each other to some degree. I'm not going to blatantly say that one is just the best and clears everything else, because no, every maximum technique is surprisingly pretty good by themselves. They all have their own pros and they all have their own cons. There's no really bad maximum technique. There's just sometimes things can be better than others in some departments. Without further ado, let's get on with this video. So, how do you get a maximum technique? Let's probably cover the basics of that. If you watch this video, you probably already know, but if not, you get a maximum technique from the storyline. That's a guaranteed way of getting it. You have to defeat Jogo. I think that's level 360 if I remember correctly. If you don't get the maximum scroll from that, you probably got it bugged out. Then that means you just gotta do the solo queue for Jogo. There's a boss. If you go to the boss queue server and you just go into Jogo and do it solo at level 360, you should be able to do the boss fight and you should get the maximum scroll from that. Other ways of getting the maximum scroll, the drops, of course, 0.1% drops from chests, and there's the curse market as well. You can exchange other stuff for the maximum scroll. Now, let's say you've gotten the maximum scroll. You use the maximum scroll and you got your maximum. How do you use it? It's pretty simple. It's just 3 black flash tokens. And how do you get black flash tokens? You just build up your focus bar. You need, of course, to have the focus tree enabled, like the first node, to be able to do black flashes, and then just build up your focus and then do 3 black flashes. You see those white bars at the bottom? They're supposed to turn red. That's how you get one. As you can see, I have 1 blue bar right now. That's 1 focus token. If I click right click and R, a black flash, and I get 1 red black flash token. Now you just need 3 more of those, and then you can use your maximum. There we go. And now we are at 3 black flash tokens, meaning we can perform the maximum. So first off, we're gonna cover is Volcano, aka Max Meteor. This is known as the quote-unquote weakest maximum. I kind of get it why. It's not that impactful compared to everything else, but to be honest with you, it is pretty strong. Oh yeah, from the stats I had, if we're going to get in-game right now, you can see these are my stats right now when I was doing testing for these things. With these amount of stats, I dealt 3,674 damage with the Max Meteor. That probably did additional burn damage if it did. I didn't count that in. So pros for Max Meteor. It has a gigantic AoE. It's very hard to miss. Also, this does not have any range drop-off or just range limit. You can literally use it from one end of the map and you'll probably go to the other end. That pretty much covers the pros. It deals very good damage, gigantic AoE, and no range limit. The negatives are something like very easy to hit something else. I had some friends complain to me. I don't use this maximum technique myself, so I can't really say for certain. I've heard people complain about them hitting like the walls or some other areas because they're, it's a very cramped up space and they accidentally hit something else. I think it's hard though to miss. It's kind of hard to do that, but I've heard people saying that. So I guess it's not really a major flaw. It's just, I gotta mention something, right? And when you cast this move, it takes some time. The wind-up is kind of crazy initially, and when you use it, it travels kind of slowly. But I don't think that's a big problem at all, because those are just the light negatives that I could think of. It's not really that crazy. Meteor is a pretty solid move. Even though it's labeled as the weakest maximum, it's still pretty strong. Because, not gonna lie, every maximum technique is pretty strong. So it doesn't matter what you take. Next up, we're going to talk about a very interesting maximum, in my opinion. Cursed Queen's Jacob's Ladder. This one is a terribly busted maximum. It can do insane damage if you do it well. The gimmick for Jacob's Ladder is that you place it down and the people close to you, it doesn't have super far range, but it has a decent range. Anything close to you will have a marking under them, and once that marking is set, they cannot escape it. If you run away far enough, if you teleport to the outside of the map, you still have the marking on you. You will be affected. And eventually, a large beam from the sky will fall down and completely obliterate anything that's locked onto and deal damage individually to the people inside of the beam. Oh yeah, let me add on to it. The damage for the one beam by itself deals 4,080 damage with my stats. This damage is not the final damage. This is just on a singular NPC. What's crazy about Jacob's Ladder is you can stack it. So if you stack up a bunch of NPCs together. Example, let's say you're doing investigation and there's like a boss or mini boss and there's a bunch of curses next to him. You just pop Jacob's Ladder and all of the beams will literally lock onto a single point, technically, because all the beams deal individual damage and they spawn each individually. Meaning if one beam does 4,000 damage, if there's 12 NPCs on one boss, that's 4,000 times 12. technically, if all of them hit. You know how much damage that is? That is 48,000 damage. Depending on how many NPCs you stack up, you can literally deal hundreds of thousands of damage. You can one-shot bosses. You can kill bosses in with a singular move. That's how strong Jacob's Ladder is. You just gotta keep curses alive and stack it. This is the PvE killer. I can safely say no other maximum can even get close to Jacob's Ladder. That's without its domain. With its domain, it is a guaranteed hit, no matter where you are in domain. That's the additional bonus it has. Now, the negatives about Jacob's Ladder, and this is a large negative, it can be cancelled. Once you summon Jacob's Ladder, Rika spawns above, I think, either you or the place you press the move. I don't think it's above them, but I think it's above where you press the move. And if they attack Rika, she has around 500 HP, more or less. That's like one move. If they kill Rika, it will cancel Jacob's Ladder entirely. That's the downside with it. That is the major downside of it. That's why it's so good in PvE, because they don't do it. It's very rare that happens. Your biggest enemies are your friends.
This time he has contacts.
I think you're onto something. Hold on. Oh, light.
18 eyes.
Mine didn't work.
Bro, Benni, I just saw both of our Rikas just get fucking hollow purple, bro.
Oh my god. Next up, we have Demon's Vessel. What is it called again? Heian mode? Heian Awakening? This one is a special maximum technique. Since it's not a skill, it's a mode. Once you pop the maximum, you turn into a Heian Sukuna version of yourself, I guess. This changes up a few skills. If you have Dismantle and Cleave in your toolbar, this changes them to be a little bit more improved and stronger versions of them. You can also chant them now. And also, he has a special move called the World Cutting Slash. If you chant Dismantle and Cleave relatively at a short time frame to each other, you pop World Cutting Slash, which is an insane move. It deals 4,200 damage almost. Since it's not just from that damage alone, you also use your Dismantle and Cleave chanted to deal damage, so it's going to deal extra damage with those two included. Your Chanted Dismantle is pretty good, and so with your Chanted Cleave. Those are like, they're pretty decent moves for being chanted. I would say prefer the non-chant variants though, because they can dish out a lot of damage. Also, in your mode, M1s will inflict bleed now. Oh yeah, and this mode also lasts for 2 minutes and 8 seconds. This is the longest lasting mode out of the 2 modes we have right now. So it lasts a pretty long while, but that's because the cooldown for Cleave is very harsh. That's the positives I can think of right now. Now the negatives is that technically it costs 5 focus tokens to perform World Cutting Slash. You know, you gotta get 3 tokens to get 3 black flashes, which enables you to go into mode, and then you gotta get 2 focus tokens to do the chants. So that's technically 5 tokens being used just to do World Cutting Slash. That's why I don't usually use World Cutting Slash often. Another downgrade is that Cleave has an insanely high cooldown by default. It's not exclusive to the maximum. By default, it has a high cooldown. So that means you don't get to perform World Cutting Slash that often. Probably 2 times before your mode runs out. Not even that. Maybe 3 if you're lucky. If you have all your chants or focus tokens with you. But usually that doesn't happen with me. So I usually get to use it once or twice in the mode, which is not that great. Another big issue, which I've noticed a lot when I'm fighting bosses, especially the Finger Bear boss. Holy shit, this pisses me off. Is when you perform World Cutting Slash, it has insane, like, it doesn't apply the damage instantly. It applies over like 3 seconds when you pop that World Cutting Slash. Like you pop it, shung, it slashes, and you wait like 1, 2, 3, bam, damage. That has screwed me over so many times, because every time I pop up Cutting Slash, the boss gets iframes, or you know, he iframes the damage. So you're doing all that preparation, all the animation for what? Just for it to not damage him, which is kind of annoying. So judging from the positives and the negatives of Heian Awakening, it's probably the most viable maximum in PvP due to the M1 slashes making them bleed, and your Cleave and Dismantle just being really good like that. Even without, you know, it's still a very solid maximum. Next up, we have Infinity, the 6 Eyes. This is another mode awakening maximum. It's pretty similar to the Heian Awakening. Your 2 moves gets changed. Your Lapse Blue and Reversal Red get changed. They have a stronger variant now in non-chant, and then they also have chant variants, which are pretty good as well. Infinity have way stronger non-chant variant moves. Like these do a lot more damage than regular moves and the chanted moves. And if you chant Lapse Blue or Reversal Red, they stay in the air for a little time. It's like a little orb that stays in the air. Now, what do you do with this? Well, it's simple. You mix and match them together. If you pop a chanted Lapse Blue, pop a chanted Red, converge together, creating the hollow purple nuke, which is the maximum quote-unquote skill. This deals almost 5,000 damage. It deals 4,700 something damage, I think. roughly. This by itself is the highest damage dealing move if we exclude the Jacob's stacking. This Hollow Purple Nuke, it is really good for PvE because the largest AoE in the whole game. This has insane AoE. I forgot to mention this mode does last for 1 minute and 38 seconds, and it has similar like M1 variants where instead of bleed like Heian Awakening, your M1s create like a vacuum. So every time you punch, the NPCs kind of like follow your direction of where you're going, which is kind of nice. It's kind of nice. Compared to the Heian Awakening, you can pop Hollow Purple Nuke way more often than you can do World Cutting Slash. That's probably why the mode itself lasts way less than the Heian Awakening, because Lapse Blue has an insanely low cooldown and Versus Red has a decently low cooldown as well, so you can chant these and pop these a lot of times. You can technically pop Hollow Purple Nuke 3 or more times before your mode runs out. That's how often you can pop it. But the negatives, they're not that many for this. Of course, it has a 5 focus token costs. Also, when you chant red and blue, the orbs itself, those things, they have 1 HP. They can be destroyed by a measly touch. Destroying one of them can ruin your whole setup, so be very careful and pop them in places where they're well hidden or you don't expect it. So that's why you should always pop blue first, because if even that gets destroyed, the cooldown from blue is very short. And then finally, the Star Rage with the Total Collapse, or it's been better known as the Black Hole. This deals pretty measly damage. It doesn't do that much damage, but this is one of the few maximums that can be chanted by itself. When you pop this, a large black hole appears, and this black hole sucks in everything close by and deals damage continuously in that area. You could combo mix with it. You know, you could pop a bunch of moves inside the black hole, but the problem is it also sucks you in. If you're close enough, it will suck you in and it will deal damage to yourself. That's the one downside with it. It deals way less damage than, you know, the original damage, but I don't know by how much. I haven't tested that. Probably like 15% of your health bar, probably. The regular version, you can easily dodge it. Just press E behind you and boom, you should be out of its range. Pretty easy. However, the chanted version is something you can almost not escape from. When you chant the black hole, this has an insane range where you get drawn in. The chanted version of Black Flash deals just like 300 more damage. It's not that great of a difference. With Black Hole, there's a trick. You can chant it, right? And pop Hollow Purple immediately. If you pop any moves that give you, like, put you stuck into place or have some iframes like that, you can pretty much be safe from the Black Hole's grasp, I guess. I think the best one is Hollow Purple, because when you are in the Hollow Purple, you literally charge up a move that is just insane damage. And they can't do anything about it. They just have to take it. Because when the Black Hole ends, your Hollow Purple is pretty much finished. And you can shoot it from there and boom. It will do a lot of damage. But yeah, that's pretty much the downsides, which is the self-damage part. That's pretty much it. I would imagine this being very good in PvP. In conclusion, I'm not going to say one maximum is better than the other, because, I mean, of course, there are going to be some better in some aspects, but there's not a best maximum. I would not say that. They have balanced out the maximums pretty well here, because everything is good in their own, like, regard. Of course, some things can be labeled as the worst, but that's because, you know, in the scenario, maybe. In other scenarios, it might be better. Who knows? Like example, PvE, we got Meteor, we got Jacob's Ladder. Those two are really good in there. In PvP, we got Heian Awakening, we got Six Eyes, and we got the Black Hole, you know. Those are pretty good there. Anywho, thank you all so much for this video. Hope you liked it, of course. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I'll see y'all in a later video.